Hello, my name is Jack Lyons, Vice President of Sales with Amwins Connect, and thank you for joining us with another episode of Coffee with Carriers. I'm excited to be joined here today with Alyson and Randy from HealthNet. Randy, would you mind doing a quick introduction?
Happy to do so, Jack. Thanks again for having me. And Alyson, I'm Randy Ebersberger. I'm Vice President of Major and Group Accounts for HealthNet. Been on board a little over 4 months, about 30 plus years in the industry, covering a broad spectrum of employee benefits in various and sundry leadership positions. And I'm just so happy to be here and share this time with you.
Well, Randy, welcome to Coffee with Carriers, and I look forward to digging into some large group topics with you today.
Absolutely.
Alyson.
First of all, I'm so happy to be here. Always good to see you, Jack, and you guys are such great partners. I'm Alyson Stone, Vice President of Small Group for HealthNet. I have been back with HealthNet for just over 2 years now and have been in the industry about 25. Heavily focused on small group over those years, and like I said, real excited to be here.
I think it's safe to say, great job over the last 24 months at HealthNet. A phenomenal experience to watch as an observer and as a business partner. The last 24 months, the trajectory has just been phenomenal, both in large group and in small. And so I want to spend a couple minutes with both of you, really kind of digging into what your experience was 24 months ago, what your plans were, what you've seen materialize, and then towards the end of our conversation today, we'll talk about the future a little bit. And so Randy, I'm going to start with you in large group. Large group over the last 24 months, from my perspective, has been a reemergence, but just has been very consistent, high level of optics on the market, really looking at those vertical markets that are important to you. And I was just wondering if you could kind of walk us through that experience and kind of where you are, what you've done, and what you would say the secret to your success has been.
Happy to. I would say that top line growth, bottom line profitability is probably the mantra. We want to pursue the right types of business, the right verticals. Obviously, we have a lot of competition in our space that dominate from a membership standpoint. But we want to be prescribed in our approach and pick the right types of employer groups and work with the right types of producers to make certain that we can achieve that goal, that is profitable growth, and expand our footprint within the state and provide an alternative to some of the other carriers that brokers mostly go to.
What a great point. And there was something in your response that really resonated with me, and is that market needs options, and so do brokers, employers. And so when you look at HealthNet as an organization and where you want to be from an option perspective, can you kind of define that and really kind of go into depth on where do you think you're a great fit and where do you want to play?
When I was doing my due diligence in deciding to take the opportunity here, I obviously contacted some of my producer friends and asked them what their opinion of HealthNet was, and reached out to some other colleagues. And they said, listen, the market can use another player. And HealthNet's got a great brand name, 40-year plus history. We're anxious to hear more about what you're doing. We'd like to see more visibility. So where do you play best? And so that's what I was really curious to know, is really what is our niche? And we have vertical markets that we pursue that we seem to be more competitive in, namely hospitality, retail, auto dealerships. But I'd like to expand beyond that to more gray, white collar. We have a tendency to write a lot of slice business, not full takeover business, and I'd like to expand beyond that because I think the market needs another provider, especially in PPO. And that's a product that we really are going to be working on. We can talk about that a little later because there's some focus on that. Again, prescribed growth, being smart about pursuing the right markets, and making certain that we can retain the business. I think that's one of the strengths that HealthNet brings to the market, is our retention. Is we have a phenomenal retention success. Of course, we have a very tenured staff. But I think that the market gives that feedback that, hey, you do a really good job of taking care of the customer. We'd like to put more business with you, but we need a reason to. And that's what we're working on.
So Randy, you touched on something that I thought was really significant in your last response, and that was around consistency. And so it's one thing to have competitive pricing, but it's another thing to see consistency over a period of time. And I'm not just speaking to rates, but just the consistency of experience. But the business that we've been placing with you through our broker partners has really had a very consistent rating experience and just overall. Talk to us a little bit about how you've been able to maintain that pricing consistency as well.
Pricing the business right, taking into consideration what's going on in the industry. There's so much change in healthcare. pharmacy, cost of care issues, all that. And it's really important to stay the course and be disciplined. And sometimes you're going to have ebbs and flows. It's really trying to be consistent, and that's discipline. And that's with the people you hire, the leadership in leading us, and making certain that we're not going after business that really doesn't fit our profile.
It's always been my experience, you're right, is you have to have those core principles that you stay true to. Mm-hmm. That allows you to continue to be in the game and be consistent for that client base. And then also too, the byproduct of that is acquisition of new opportunities as well. And I think HealthNet has demonstrated that in the large group market significantly. There was something that you touched on a couple minutes ago around the diversity of the clients that you would like to see your organization work with. And I know this touches both of you around your PPO product. And so which one of you would like to talk about your new PPO position, not only with some potential partners or partners that you have, but also just kind of the reemergence of being that additional option in that marketplace. I don't know, Alyson, if you want to take this one?
Sure, I'd love to. It's an exciting one. When I first came back to HealthNet just over 2 years ago, as I mentioned, we went around the state asking questions and looking for market feedback, and this is part of what I'll talk about as far as the small group, the last 2 years, if you will, and how it started. But the feedback that we got was quiet, with the exception of our out-of-state PPO. Every single, and I'm not exaggerating, interaction that I had either with a broker or a general agent partner like yourself, this topic came up. Your out-of-state PPO is preventing you from really, having significant growth with all of the out-of-state movement and opportunities. It was really a big factor for us. And so, under the leadership of Colin Havert, we were able to successfully roll out the new Cigna PPO network for out-of-state membership, and that has been tremendous for us. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, both from a small group and large group standpoint. It's opened up doors for us. It's changed the conversation fundamentally. Not only are we seeing growth out of state on PPO, but we're seeing in-state growth too, and we're seeing a much higher percentage of our business come in on the PPO versus HMO.
So Alyson, with Colin Havert and yourself joining the organization a couple years ago, just coming with decades worth of experience in that small group market and demonstrated success historically, the impact was almost immediate. Last year we saw some significant improvement, but you're spot on. As you've continued to demonstrate pricing discipline and consistency, the addition of that PPO product has really set momentum forward. Beyond just the discipline, the legacy, and experience, really, what do you think were the other driving factors to the success that you've had over the last couple of years?
It's been a journey, as I like to say. When I came back and assessed, kind of the organization, the processes, our sales delivery process, our market engagement, our leadership, and just the structure in general. There were a lot of things that some tweaks, some big movements, big changes, but a lot of it started with listening to the market. Yeah. And one of the first things, in addition to the out-of-state PPO, that we heard was that we weren't being seen, we weren't being heard from, right? And we weren't out there, talking with the market, educating the market, because part of that, when you ask for feedback and it's nearly crickets, there's a problem, right? No one's perfect, everyone has work to do. When you ask for feedback, you should hear some sort of feedback. And yes, we did hear the PPO, but there was more than that, right? So as we, re-engage with the market, we changed our, sales delivery process, if you will, and market engagement activities. We expanded our sales staff, both from a support standpoint and an feet on the street perspective. We reassessed our territories. We have a small but mighty team, as I like to say, with 6 sales executives and a very large state, right? So we looked at how we optimize, their territories so that we can, maximize our penetration in the market. We also worked very closely with you and your team and our other general agent partners partners to help us, expand that footprint, to make sure that you guys were talking the same story and explaining and selling HealthNet the way that we feel we should be positioned based on what our value prop is. But so much more. I mean, just enabled the team, marketing, leadership changes, organizational structure changes that I think have really made a significant impact. And then just being easier to do business with. We reevaluated our implementation process, expedited that. We implemented automation, not only on the implementation side, but also some of the activities that our team does and things that were really, taking up their time. So a number of things, and I could really go on, but there were, like I said, small and big changes. And at the end of the day, our market position has enabled us to really excel. I mean, we've, if you look over an 18-month period, we've grown by 14%. Within CalChoice, we've grown by 35%. And so we've had a lot of success. And I think a lot of that goes to just making sure we reinforce that message and we educate the market, because there is a lot of value and it just wasn't known.
There was so much that you just touched on, and it's clear that there's just been a holistic review of small group, your value proposition, your recommitment to the market. One of the things that you touched on and that I've personally been able to experience is just the visibility and engagement at the rep level in their core markets. If anyone follows social media, I would have to say your small group team is probably the most active, engaged group. And I think, they have a great message to tell, but it seems like they're having a lot of fun doing it too, right? And we really appreciate the partnership. When you look at that engagement, like, where does that come from? Like, it's actually been really impressive. And I point to your organization a lot, to my organization, to say, you need to get out there more.
That's a very nice compliment. Thank you. It's been a huge focus for us. I mean, if you look at any, strategic decks I put together or things that we talk about as our priorities, it's always at the top of the list. Market engagement, market engagement, market engagement. We have reps that are newer, right? So we have a lot of legacy across our account management and sales team, but we also have newer talent that is great as well, because it's just so energized, bringing new ideas and thoughts. And social media has been a great platform, I think, for us and others, us collectively. The visibility is great. The staying connected with your partners in a actually meaningful way easily. I think it's a great tool. The team is having a lot of fun, and Crystal Given is our director of sales, and she's just an amazing leader and amazing all across the board, just amazing.
Agreed.
And the team, just loves working with her, and I think she sets a great example that way
really
as well.
Does. I can attest that, phenomenal professional, but better person. So Alyson, I know we've had an opportunity to work together in many different capacities in different organizations. And the one thing that I know about you is you're never satisfied. We all like to take a couple minutes and enjoy some of the successes, but if I know you, and I think I do, you're already hatching the next set of plans and looking at a way to create a better environment and increase your opportunities. So when you look at the landscape over the next 12 to 24 months, what's next?
Great question. And I am working hard to try to recognize the efforts that we've made and the success that we've had. But yes, there's always growth opportunities. What's next? How do we continue to expand on the success, continue to grow? We need to continue to be engaged with the market. There's still plenty of partners that we continue to need to win back. And so we'll continue doing that. In addition to that, though, I think from a implementation experience, we want to look into other ways to make that even more efficient. Our online tools, one of the things that I've noticed is that the broker community is also not aware of what we actually offer today. So we've been doing webinars on our online tools, making it easier. I know we live in a world where people love self-service. If you don't have to pick up the phone, you're a happy camper. We're also looking at how do we've been a very strong HMO player for a very long time with 4 very robust HMO networks and the ability, to offer the flexibility to write all those networks alongside each other. PPO continues to be an area of needed increased focus. So with Cigna now having that out-of-state Cigna PPO network, we are seeing an increase in PPO sales, but we have more opportunity up north, especially to expand the sales there and membership growth. Randy and I are working on some ways of gaining valuable feedback from our broker partners around our PPO, and how do we enhance that network, and what is it that drives the buyer's behavior to competitors as opposed to us when it comes to PPO, because we have a very robust statewide network that stands up to those other significant competitors out there. So there will be, increased focus around PPO, and how do we change that, if we need to change the market perception of that.
Great.
Yeah.
So Randy, I'm going to come to you now, and with a fresh set of eyes, right, coming into the organization, you've had a long time market presence and have seen success, and as you kind of look at the landscape of HealthNet, where do you see the large group evolution over the next 12 to 24 months?
I'd say that, the sky's the limit. I know that sounds cliche-ish, but we definitely have been a niche player, a managed care company. Our PPO is something of interest. I mean, like I said, when I was being considered for this role, that's some of the feedback I got is, what are you doing with your PPO? And then Alyson mentioned about aligning ourselves with Cigna. That's been very helpful. And we're doing a focus group to get some real market feedback about the effectiveness of our PPO, where are some of the things we need to change, market perception on equivalent discounts, breadth of our network, et cetera. We're working on those things. Those are the ball bearings and nuts and bolts, the things that we have to do better so we can give you and your brokers the reason to do business with us. That's just one aspect of it. But I'd say that, visibility really is what we're lacking. Yeah. And I think it's just because our market forward-facing presence hasn't been out there. It's a virtual world we live in now, post-COVID. That's one thing that I noticed is, even before I go, and I'm dating myself here, is after 9/11, our market changed. It wasn't free-flowing where you could just go and make broker calls. That's why I think, we have to be smarter, you have to use technology and find ways and give the producers reasons to do business with us. And that's what we have to do better, because we have a real tough competition lineup out there. Yeah. And they're all trying to build a better mousetrap too. So we want to make certain that, look, we can take the intelligence that we have, we can take the pricing discipline, our great retention history, and work that in the markets where we can make a difference and where we can give you and fill that void perhaps where some of the other carriers aren't able to do it as well. So we want to win, but we understand that, greed gets you nowhere. Yeah. So that's really what our focus is. And, again, the visibility piece is we have to be more out there. We talked about creating a virtual presence with blogging and using LinkedIn, for example. We are fortunate that we have a marketing optimization department that helps us with that. So that content is something we're developing, so we can be more front and center, because if you can't pick up the phone, if you can't email, maybe somebody's looking on social media, and we have to have the right presence and have the right message that we deliver.
There's one consistent theme that I've heard actually from both of you, and that is your focus on soliciting feedback from the market. Mm-hmm. And I want to give you both credit and kudos for that, because hearing from your constituency, both brokers and employer groups, really does help you develop your strategy, and a strategy that really resonates in the market. But I wanted to touch on one thing, and actually it was a thank you. I had an opportunity to come out and meet with your large group team at your sales breakout, and what a phenomenal group of folks. Like, talent in that room was very deep. Thank you. But more importantly, just the energy and excitement around that group, you could just feel it. Yeah. And so I just want to, have you talk a little bit about your team, kind of what they're doing, where your focus is on your team and staffing in the market in general.
Thanks, and appreciate that compliment. I mean, it's great people to work with, like Alyson and Colin and the whole bunch of us is energizing, and definitely one of the attractions for me to come on board here.
You can feel it.
Yeah, and I would say that our team is veteran. Our particular AEs and AMs are all veteran. But one of the things I think we need to focus more on is capitalizing on that talent. The experience level is something that is invaluable to a producer, because we're not, it's not our first rodeo, right? So we just need to get more forward facing. So I'm working on some real basic fundamentals, and that is visibility, call activity, social events, things of just basic stuff that we need to reaffirm in the market that we're out to win business and be your trusted partner. So some of those basic stuff is really what I'm working on. Creating accountability in terms of call activity. I don't want to say reports, because my team will probably mutiny if they hear that. But you have to master the fundamentals. Yeah. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. The whole is a sum of its parts. And not just my team, but our underwriting team, our marketing team, our operations team. We all have to know what our goal is, and we all need to pull in the same direction. I like to share a lot of information and involve a lot of people in what our problems and challenges are to try to find solutions. And that's one thing I do emphasize with my team is, listen, I don't mind you talking about the problems, but bring a solution or suggest a solution. That's more productive, and we get more accomplished if you do that. So trying to get that esprit de corps.
Yeah.
And I would just say that that's kind of the DNA that we have at HealthNet, is everyone's trying to find a way to win and do it profitably, so we can grow exponentially and meet our objectives from our corporate parent, Centene.
The collaboration between Randy and I has been fantastic, and it's a very big contributor to how we've been able to be so successful over the last 24 months is there's been so much collaboration across the organization. Everyone is, from the day I walked in the door, how can we help? What do you need? And cheering us on, and from operational partners to other segment partners, from individual, Ernie Burnell, and our marketing team, and underwriting, actuary. I mean, it's such a collaborative team and such a collaborative approach that I think that is a huge tool for us, that we stay on the same page, we stay as aligned as we can on goals. Just a tremendous amount of communication and collaboration are happening.
Yeah, and again, I can feel it just in our interactions and our personal engagements as well, that you guys are all on the same page, and like you said, there's a lot of collaboration and conversation and joint energy going towards the goal, right? When you look at your success, right, you've had early adopter brokers that jumped in, and then you've encouraged brokers to give it a try through your consistency. And now you're kind of sitting there and looking at getting some additional, opportunities and relationships and energy going. And one of the things that I noticed that you guys did this year was your broker bonus program. Great program, and I think it really incentivizes brokers to take a look and, kick the wheels for HealthNet and see the great things that you're doing. Would you mind, Alyson, just talking a little bit about your broker program?
So we actually have two incentive programs. One is already started, the other one's about to start in September. So the first one actually is large group, small group, and individual, and it's for the top 8 selling brokers for small group from the period of July sales through January 2025. If they sell the highest number of sales and they sell at least 250 members during that period, they and a very lucky guest will be joining us, our leadership team, in Hawaii in next year in 2025. So that's the first program. That's very exciting. The other one is a special commission opportunity. So for groups sold between 9/1 and 1/1, if they are at least 6 employees, then they can earn 6% commission for the life of the case. So that's a 20% increase.
Love it. I know that's a program that we know is creating some buzz. Our team's been very excited about it, and definitely brokers have taken note. Looking forward to seeing how that resonates with the market as we head into the rest of the year.
Awesome.
Randy, how about you?
Yeah.
Anything going on in large group?
Well, yes, we also have the EPP program, the Elite Partnership Program, which qualifies for large group at 300 members minimum. The top 8 producers during that time period will qualify for that trip to Maui, which is an excellent way to spend time, right? And then the other one is somewhat agnostic. I call it the KISS principle. Keep it smart and simple. We provide a 2% bonus on the premium, and there's no qualifier, just sell new business. I've been involved with other more complicated broker override bonus programs and other carriers I've worked for, and they all serve their purpose. But this is very simple, and it's open to any broker. So I think it just drives more conversation, more interest, because you're not having to worry about a minimum threshold, you're not having to worry about retention or any of that stuff. So it's very straightforward, and we get a lot of positive feedback from that.
I've heard great things on both of the programs, and I think both of you have hit on simplicity is always great when brokers understand the programs. But again, I still think it's just your overall commitment to core principles and your discipline and your consistency that's really led to it. This is just the frosting on the cake that you guys have put together over the last couple of years. Alyson, I'm going to come back to you. There was a comment that you made earlier, and that was around your CalChoice strategy and your commitment to that distribution channel. Can you spend a couple minutes just talking about kind of where you are, what your focus has been, and where you see it going over the next couple of years?
CalChoice has been a tremendous partner to us. I've worked with them gosh, for a lot of years. We have seen tremendous growth within CalChoice. We offer our HMO networks through CalChoice, and we've actually seen us being the second highest HMO seller within CalChoice almost every single month. And so that's been, a great growth opportunity for us. We are also seeing, brokers produce through CalChoice that we don't see produced directly, so it helps us expand that distribution channel. Things are going very well with CalChoice. I think that's just an additional a growth opportunity for us. I see that continuing into the future.
We've definitely seen the same experience that you've seen in your participation and partnership with CalChoice as well. It's been good to see. And again, I think it's always great for the market to have options, and options that are committed long term, and I think that's resonated with CalChoice in particular. So Randy, I know there's one additional thing that you're doing in your market space, and that's around your ancillary partnership and discounting. Could you spend a couple minutes just walking me through your position on that and some of the unique things that you're doing?
Absolutely. So we currently offer a specialty bundling discount for dental, life, and vision. You can get up to 3% off your medical premium. And again, what's the importance of that is that, the eyes and the mouth are gateways to understanding and maybe detecting claims that might be a bigger spend down the way. So it's important to take a look at that, and we can put that all together, provide some economic incentive. And we have a very robust dental network, vision network, and competitive life rates. So many of our producers out there, your brokers that you work with, may not be aware of that. But ancillary is a very important part of the whole employee benefit package.
Absolutely.
And we're able to offer that.
It's great that you're doing that on a couple different levels. I think it provides good financial incentive for clients. Sometimes having all of your lines of coverage under one roof provides a consolidated experience for the employee and their dependents, right, when it comes to healthcare delivery.
Yeah, we're trying to promote that as much as we can, because we think there's not only an economic incentive, but it's better for the member.
Absolutely. As we wrap up our time together today, I'm going to just kind of roll back and refocus a little bit and just say congratulations to both of you and to the organization at large. It's been great to see, a great company like HealthNet, one that I, personally know well and have, been part of at one point in my career and holding a dear place in my heart, like really make a reemergence. Not that they were ever gone, but I think there's something special going on right now. I really do, and I think the market feels it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited for both of you. What should the broker community in California at large expect from you and the organization and your market segment over the next year or so?
I would say that the brokerage community can count on us being communicative, contacting them, asking for opportunities, showing humility and gratefulness for that opportunity that they do send to us, and a commitment to competitiveness and long-term retention, because that's really, I think, one of our benchmark strengths is the fact that we write business and we retain business fairly well. So I would say that brokers can expect to see us more, see some new ideas, see some technological advances, and just see an opportunity to work with another carrier that gives them a fresh perspective.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. I'm looking forward to it. Alyson?
Similar to what Randy said, from a small group perspective, consistency is key. One of the things that we heard when I first came back was that we didn't have rate stability, and we have more than demonstrated now a consistent pricing actions with stability, competitive pricing up and down the state. And so, the market should expect that to continue, and that we'll remain committed to that and disciplined with our pricing. We'll also remain committed to, continuing to evaluate our processes, the customer experience, find ways to, streamline implementation, introduce new tools and efficiencies. And then from a service standpoint, we are going to be rolling out soon a broker tiered service model to enhance the way that we support our top tier brokers from a loyalty and opportunity standpoint. And then at the end of the day, just that we remain committed in general, and that you're here to support you as our general agent partners and our broker partners. And I also want to say thank you for your graciousness, and I appreciate your partnership, not only today, but over the years, and your team is amazing, and we're very lucky to work with you guys.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for being here today and being part of the Coffee with Carriers. You know, it's great to just spend time with both of you, but it's been amazing just to hear from you and, more importantly, talk a lot about the success that your organization has experienced over the last couple of years. But more importantly, I'm excited about the future. Both of you, the investments you've made in your organization, and just the overall energy, I think the best is yet to come. And I'm really look forward to being part of it in the future in 2025 and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you for joining us again for another Coffee with Carriers.